So yesterday we talked about the Deadpool Creator Cup tournament that was held on January 18th to celebrate the release of Deadpool in Rivals. I'm going to start with a brief recap on this topic for anyone that wants to quickly refresh their memory, but if you don't want the recap, skip to about 3 minutes and 10 seconds into this video, as that's where we get right into the new stuff, and there are some very amusing updates to go over. So we have Kingsman 265, who is one of the best pro players in Marvel Rivals, and he was grouped up with a number of toxic female streamers for his team on this tournament, and they all attempted to gang up on him, to smear his reputation, and ultimately to even get him kicked from the tournament, which they succeeded in, because he dared to recommend that one of the women on his team, Zaza, switch off Black Widow. By the way, he was completely justified and correct about that. Because on top of Black Widow generally being one of the worst characters in the game every season, Zaza was also exceptionally terrible at playing Black Widow, as she oftentimes somehow went through the tournament with 0 eliminations and somehow even 0 assists. And she was even saying something about how she wanted to use this opportunity to finally show off her great Widow gameplay or something like that. It's like 0 elims, 0 assists, but she kept refusing to swap, some egotistical nonsense. And it's like, dude, if she's going to keep refusing, at least pack the rifle up and go melee Widow. Like, your aim is so bad that as horrible as melee Widow is, which is even worse than the rifle mode, it still would have been an improvement for her. Like, she probably would have had some assists if she would have, like, dove in there as melee Widow, backing Kingsman up as magic, which is a sentence that should never be said. But that's the reality of her life and how bad she is at this character. Anyways, long story short, these women get all offended at Kingsman, saying like, dude, you should probably swap off Widow. Like, we're gonna lose because of you. Like, please swap. They get all mad. They start playing victim, start trying to cancel Kingsman. They get him kicked from the entire tournament. But then people find out what happened. They start seeing how out of line these women acted. They all start defending Kingsman. These women write damage control nonsense posts that no one believes because it's full of 0 accountability and like attempting to play victim. Cece starts talking about she had this panic attack that no one believed because they saw the clips. And even if she wasn't lying about that, which she probably was, it still, of course, doesn't justify her actions. Zaza like runs to her boyfriend and has the boyfriend write some Google Doc against Kingsman that she was hyping up, like, oh, everyone will see the truth. That whole thing completely flops, and the boyfriend folds instantly, protects his entire Twitter account. These women lock all the responses on their damage control posts because they're just getting rightfully criticized and no one's believing them. And then I think it's Zaza, she starts saying like, oh, I locked the responses because of the misogyny and the sexism. And it's like, dude, the only comments there were saying like, you're a liar. Like, it's saying like you should have just swapped off. Oh yeah, it's so sexist. So this is to say that they just did the classic thing of like throwing buzzwords out there and taking no accountability at all. Anyways, this recap's taken longer than I expected. It's just too much fun talking about this stuff. I cannot believe how these people acted. Just so pathetic. Anyways, it all worked out really well for Kingsman. His Twitch, his YouTube, everything starts popping off, and he's actually seen more success than ever and probably made so much more money off the ad revenue and donations and subs he's been getting than he ever would have got from that tournament anyways. So in a way, best possible outcome for bro. All right, on to the new stuff. Kingsman just joined Twitter and already has almost 50k followers, but he didn't join for no reason. As he says, hey everyone, I originally wasn't planning on posting this, but the first screenshot kind of messed with my vibes a bit. Obviously joking about how Cece and Zaza were saying like, oh, Kingsman, be quiet, we just want good vibes, blah, blah, blah. And he says, so here it is, linking to his own Google Doc. The entire Google Doc is pretty dang short, compared to the Google Docs I've seen from like the VTuber community, which oftentimes people make like dozens of pages of what ends up being nothing burger central. Nevertheless, I'll still point out what I find to be like the highlight areas here. The beginning of this is already pretty hilarious because we instantly have Kaplunk, once again, that's Zaza's boyfriend, talking about that whole Google Doc that Kaplunk had made. And some redacted person here talking about getting Kingsman kicked off the team, saying, don't worry, plenty of people in line are just as good. Kingsman, like everybody else, is replaceable. I don't know why this person got redacted, though. They definitely seem like they're part of the problem. It seems like Kingsman is not the person who redacted that other user and this was sent to him or something, because he speculates that the redacted person is Cece. He says that he's 99% sure that's Cece and points out, once again, as we already know, that Kaplunk is Zaza's boyfriend. Then we have some DMs between Cece and Kingsman, but I'm going to skip this because I'm not trying to hear all of Cece's gaslighting. Sucks that Kingsman had to deal with that, but I'm not going to subject myself to that either. The long and short of it, though, is that this is not good for Cece, and there are some parts that are especially bad for her. For example, where many people are talking about this section saying that Cece never even meant her apology. Well, we already knew that, but here's further evidence backing that up. Cece saying to Kingsman, oh, sorry, are you uncomfortable that I'm taking no for an answer? The same way you didn't take no for an answer for an hour? Or the fact that the only thing you said to the team was about money? Like, seriously, bro? YTF would I want to kick you if I insisted you stay after you said you want to go play ranked. Thanks for throwing me under the frickin' bus and into unlimited harassment for X amount of weeks, if not months. Well, we already know that these people wanted Kingsman kicked from the team, so if she was telling him that I don't actually want you kicked, again, that was probably her gaslighting. That was probably a lie. Saying one thing to bro and then behind the scenes acting a completely different way and trying to get him kicked. And then you gotta love the ending there where she's just trying to play victim once again. Like, oh, you're getting me thrown into harassment for weeks or months. Like, dude, you're getting rightful criticism, not harassment. And she did this to herself. This is not Kingsman's fault. He's reacting to what you guys did to him. Take some accountability. This is hilarious too. She then says, get your freaking clicks now, all because your own actions got you banned and you can't accept that. Usually I would be mature, but I don't owe you that. If you can't even see how you're in the wrong. You're just a jerk for harassing Zaza for a whole hour and making her upset even after we said to stop. And now I'm getting that harassment 10 times fold. And finally she says, hello, do you have any response? Just like you want 40K, I want some peace of mind for the next time I go live. It gets even crazier though, because then we have some more of these female Marvel rival streamers that, yeah, again, these people came over from Overwatch and, you know, they bring their pathetic behavior along with them, but their messages get leaked. And here's what they're saying. Some person named Sammy, I should say, says, I'm sorry, I'm already losing brain cells from how stupid this is. Oh my gosh. I'm seeing everything going on today, and since Kaplunk was the one who went to production, I'm not gonna lie, I would be furious with him. He hurt so many careers. Oh my gosh, dude. That's so pathetic. He hurt so many careers. His Google Doc failed, the Google Doc that we all kind of wanted him to write, you know, but it failed, so we're gonna blame him now. Dude, unbelievable. Who even is this person anyways? And then we have some other random person, Lady Quad. Okay, rank 1 Cece defender. Might as well just say like #1 biggest loser. And I have no idea what she's talking about anyways. I'm just gonna move on to the next part. Just I think it's an example of how fake she is what I get out of this. Oh, it keeps getting worse though. Then this other person, Ashlyn, chimes in, says, it really is at Cece, at Zaza Stack. Don't let these people try and bully you off the internet. I know it's annoying, but use it as an opportunity to gain favor from people who support you. The parasocials will forget about it in a few days when they move on to the next thing. Basically, it's free ad revenue. And so then this rival streamer Ashlyn then starts going off about how Cece is getting too much hate and it's mostly just misogyny. Once again, no, it's not. Most of it is justified, rightful criticism. Miss us with your buzzwords. No one falls for that nonsense anymore. We're in 2026. And then Ashlyn says, everybody deserves empathy. It doesn't matter if you think the person deserves the hate or not. Yeah, where was that energy for Kingsman? They only say this nice stuff when it's like directed to a side that they support. But if it's people they don't support, oh, they're totally fine with them getting hate. People see this stuff. They start directly calling Ashlyn out, saying stuff like, isn't this literally AshlynnFPS? LMAO, all these rival women content creators are the same. Holy smokes, they're so terrible. Yo, Ashlyn, where's the fake apology dropping? When's the fake apology dropping? Yeah, I'm so disappointed to see this from Ashlyn. I thought she was cool, but I guess she sides herself with bullies. Making this even more hilarious is how on January 20th, Ashlyn came out with a public statement trying to act neutral, but clearly in a very manipulative way. And behind the scenes, we clearly see that Ashlyn was certainly not neutral, very clearly on Cece's side, on Zaza's side, which the community note even points out. We'll read that first, then we'll read Ashlyn's attempted gaslighting. So the community note reads, this user, Ashlyn, was heavily backed by Cece and Zaza, defended harassment, and otherwise engaged in various character assassinations against Kingsman, including inventing false allegations. It would be unwise to consider AshlynnFPS unbiased in any capacity. So yeah, look how manipulative this is from AshlynnFPS. Says, I collected more details on this drama, and I'm willing to give a serious input. My genuine opinion on this is everybody was being cringe. Cece, Kingsman, Zaza, everybody. From a content creator's perspective, nobody was in the right here. The point of a creator tournament is to meet new creators, to network, and grow all of our communities together. This concept was clearly overridden by the prize pool being $40,000. It should have never been this big for this type of tournament, and was a huge oversight. It's too much for a community whose pro scene can hardly even regulate their own emotions. The best thing for everybody to do is to not escalate the situation, learn from it, and move on with life. I feel so sorry for the other teams who have been massively overshadowed by this whole thing. It's not fair. This was truly unfortunate and preventable. And then again, we can see the community note talking about how, yeah, no, Ashlynn was heavily backing Cece and Zaza, defended the harassment against Kingsman, tried to character assassinate Kingsman, made up false allegations, and like, this stuff is so ridiculous. Like, I collected more details on this drama and I'm willing to give a serious input. No, what this really means is like, I've got a slant and I'm trying to hide it. And then like trying to sway people against Kingsman by acting like everybody was cringe. Nah, Kingsman was in the right. Ashlynn even said like nobody was in the right here. Yeah, no. Once again, Kingsman was. Nice try. And you gotta love the whole thing about like, people need to calm down, don't escalate the situation, just move on. Yeah, these people had no problem with that energy when it was directed at getting Kingsman kicked from the tournament. But as soon as public opinion shifts against their side, oh, suddenly everyone has to calm down, guys. Don't escalate it. Calm down. There is no escalation even happening. There's people rightfully criticizing how toxic this group of people is, right? That's not escalating. That's just objective fact and people talking about that fact. And you gotta love this too. Look at this. AshlynnFPS also later on locked the responses on this tweet, just like we saw Cece do on her tweet, just like we saw Zaza do on her tweet. AshlynnFPS doing the same thing after getting responses like this where no one is buying this nonsense, this gaslighting. For example, we have this user Speedy saying, your last post defended Cece, the one who was one of the bullies, but you don't say anything for King the bullied. I think you should sit this one out and not try and sweep away toxicity, but hold people accountable for their actions. Ashlynn then posting once again the part that says, I collected more details on this drama and I'm willing to give serious input. We all know that wasn't true though. Speedy pointing that out, saying, the quote-unquote serious input should include how King was treated when you post it, because while he was being annoying, it was for a very obvious reason, and bro got treated horribly for it. I don't even think he was being annoying. I think he was completely in the right. But then Ashlynn says, the second sentence, my genuine opinion on this is everybody was being cringe. Cece, Kingsman, Zaza, everybody. This only got 14 likes versus Speedy's 3,900 likes. And also there was 139 responses mocking Ashlynn for this take and everything going on here before Ashlynn once again locked the responses so no one else could say anything on this topic. Another hilarious response that got through before Ashlynn locked everything down is this one from Whale that says, is this you? And posting the Discord leak that we read earlier where Ashlynn is very clearly siding with Cece and Zaza, this getting 4,100 likes. People even saying, notice how she's replied to all tweets before this screenshot came out, by the way? Yeah. Typical. Similarly, mad how she posted this as her quote-unquote unbiased take while actually being biased. How can people be this fake? Somehow Ashlynn gets even more pathetic after being exposed like this because then 11 hours ago Ashlynn says, Cece is bad, Kingsman is good. Would you kind souls please stop sending me death threats? This is the exact same slop that we've seen from Cece and Zaza, where they just tried to say like, oh, it's all just like misogyny and sexism, blah, 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 whatever else buzzword they want to try to throw out there to deflect from what they're doing and to try to lock responses and justify that when in reality, they're just scared of the truth and people talking about the truth of the situation. Somehow it still gets worse for Ashlynn though, like, then Ashlynn says one of the most down bad things possible, follows that up by saying, since there are so many eyes on this, I'm going to shoot my shot. I am a trans for trans switch poly unemployed puppy girl who is, dude, reading that out loud. Oh gosh, hearing my voice say that. Oh man, I had to cringe for a second. Excuse me. Let me continue here. Who is vulnerable and looking for true love. Women only, please. Oh my gosh, dude. Immensely down bad. By the way, going back to this one, I forgot to read the community note. It reads, poster, Ashlynn actually sided with Cece and told her to use the situation as free ad revenue. And going back to this tweet from January 20th, the one where Ashlynn attempted to seem unbiased and was clearly manipulative, I just noticed that there was another tweet that Ashlynn made here that I skipped over. So let's rewind really quickly. So we have the one simp here saying, the people mad at Marvel Rivals toxicity while also going in community note spamming posts with harassment is definitely a choice. It's not even between people involved at this point. Everyone who isn't involved has involved themselves to milk this, which will always look pathetic. Yeah, okay, bro, you're one to talk about what looks pathetic as you refer to community notes as harassment. I mean, get real. And then we have Ashlynn responding to that dude saying, I genuinely agree with you. I'm here to slightly milk it because it's part of the game, but yeah, I 100% agree with you. And the responses are absolutely cooking Ashlynn. For example, milked it just to gain more haters than followers. I don't know if you know the purpose of milking something, but it's definitely not to make upwards of half the community you want to watch you hate you. And kicking me from your server after I joined to respectfully see both sides and wasn't even trolling is crazy. I thought you wanted to milk it for revenue, but even trying to respectfully disagree with some of your points doesn't matter. LMAO. Other people pointing out the leaked Discord message and saying, "This you? About time to quit gaming, you double-faced MF." As we near the latter part of the video, we do have to return to Cece. So do you remember this part of the Google Doc way earlier where we had this redacted person talking about wanting to get Kingsman kicked in collaboration with Kaplunk and that failed Google Doc? And now Kingsman mentioned that he was speculating that that was potentially Cece, saying he was 99% sure that the redacted person was, as mentioned, Cece. Well, Cece responded to that saying, "I'm in the middle of class as I see this, but I want to be clear, those DMs with Kaplunk is not with me. I would not know any substitute list. Yes, I know I flamed Kingsman, but I've been trying to apologize since that night. Proof below, I sent it to my friend at first and then had someone else confirm. I was already framed in the video as the person who made the boss call. The video likely referring to the video that Kingsman himself made on his channel that the last time I checked had like 900k views. It's probably well over 1 million now if I had to guess. Anyways, she says, "This was confirmed, not me. Basim said Kaplunk messaged staff. I really don't want to be instantly framed for something I didn't do. Again, I have 0 DMs with Kaplunk. I already apologized for my behavior insulting Kingsman. I just want to move on, please." Yeah, you want to move on. I wonder why, because it's all going so bad for you. And look, it's not like people are dragging this out. It's been like all of 2 days. And Kingsman just posted new information. Of course, people are still talking about it. Cece also posted some Discord screenshots that she thinks are going to help her case or something. I don't really know like what she's getting at here. This gets community noted as well, where people point out that the Discord screenshots don't even really match up with what she's saying. And then she just gets ratioed by people in the responses. This user Vonte saying it's already cooked gang and posting Kizaru saying maintaining the vibes is our top priority, getting 11,000 likes versus CC's 1,700. Other responses like damage is already done, get off the internet for months and repent. We don't care, you got what you deserve for bullying someone who wanted to win and showed passion. This response is crazy. 6,800 likes saying, "Careful y'all, she's gonna have another panic attack." And this user saying, "Dang, that's tough." Probably meant to say rough, and showing infinity mice. Now, I posted a pinned comment in my video yesterday talking about this because this happened after I made my video. But yeah, CC's already been losing sponsorships. For example, Infinity Mice here that said that they're going separate ways from Cece. They're no longer going to have a partnership with her going forward. Cece then has the bright idea to make one last response, quote tweeting herself in the tweet that we just read. And she says this time, "Emotions are high and I've learned when to step away. If a response ends up necessary, I'll make one. Please react how you see fit to me being a jerk. I know I deserve the same treatment I dish out. I am not the person in the screenshot with Kaplunk. I was not the one who reported Kingsman. My apology the day before includes all of my behavior. I have not been online since, and I've been holding myself accountable. I will continue to do so." Needless to say, as you can already expect, people aren't buying this either. Saying things like, "You were acting like the boss, talking about Greenlit though. Y'all should be banned from any future tournaments, no BS. Y'all really just want this stuff to pass over and be forgotten about, but I hope it doesn't." Furthermore, just the other day, she had a completely different tune, trying to act like this would actually be really good for her career, and she can totally farm this drama. It's going to be great for her.
Honestly, I'm not a drama farmer, but then I saw everyone drama farming on Marvel Rivals, and I was like, let me make some money too, bro. Let me get some viewership too. Loki, this is my chance. I was always thinking, you know, when people like get canceled and then they pop off on views, like they they stay relevant by getting in drama. Like let me farm for once in my freaking 6 years of content creation.
Which takes us to a little bit of a rewind. I should have mentioned this yesterday in my coverage. My bad for not including this, but we'll talk about this really quick. This is hilarious. So she did end up doing that farming by posting this video 4 days ago titled "The Truth Behind the $40,000 Tournament." And this is one of the most immense ratios on YouTube.com. Because this video apparently has 1,020 likes versus 51,050 dislikes. as well as 51,448 comments. Making it even more hilarious is that just for her apology video, she decided to suddenly go as a PNG tuber for the apology. So what is she doing here? She wants to be taken seriously with her manipulations, right? But then she's still like gonna suddenly not show herself on camera after she's been doing that for years. And during her explanation, she's gonna go PNG tuber mode. I don't know how she thought that was a good idea. She's insanely out of touch. Not just that, but look what people are saying here in the responses, just overtly calling her out, and rightfully so. Stuff like, Jarvis, make my voice higher so I sound innocent, and did you make your voice higher in pitch to sound more innocent? LMAO, like dude is just laughing. This one saying voice changer plus PNG tuber avatar to make you look innocent is wild. So yeah, it's just unthinkable. This whole thing is unthinkable. The way these people operated. This entire thing. It's like it was already terrible to begin with, and somehow they kept making it even worse. How do you even act that pathetically? It's actually insane. You know what? It's kind of impressive in a way, but for all the wrong reasons. The final person in this situation that we have an update on is Luciyasa, who you might recall was Kingsman's duo partner for a while as Bro was kindly carrying her. But as soon as she thought the public opinion was going to be against Kingsman and these other women were teaming up against him near the beginning of this whole situation, Luciyasa decided to throw Kingsman under the bus and stab Bro in the back. Well, now she's doubling down.
To why I did what I did and why I said what I said. I did do it at wrong times, I do admit. But in regards to me telling him to shut the fuck up, that is the only thing I think I am 100% justified in, because Zaza said you're making me feel like shit. When somebody on your team is like saying that, I'm immediately just put off. And yeah, I don't know. That's the only time I'm only gonna like defend that specific moment. Thank you, the plug for the prime.
And as this user points out, how come Kingsman's feelings weren't put into consideration then? They literally doubled down and tag teamed him, and that's exactly it. It's just double standards. You know, she and these other women have said one thing, but then they operate in a completely different way. They're fine with Kingsman getting harassed by them and getting kicked from the tournament, but then when they get criticized for that, suddenly they want to act like they're the victims and Kingsman's out of line and everyone criticizing them is out of line too. Another top response that is just facts. This one says, not to be that guy, but imagine, just imagine, if Kingsman said to shut the frick up to any of them, just like, what was this person's name again? Luciyasa, right? Just like Luciyasa said in that clip that she apparently said that to him, right? She told him to shut the frick up. Yeah, he didn't act like that towards them. He was just pointing out issues in the gameplay and recommending a switch, which for the millionth time was justified and correct. But yeah, if he would have said the same stuff that they were saying to him, if he would have said that stuff to them, oh, they would have flipped out about it. You sure know they would. We'll close with another wholesome update about Kingsman. Says Kingsman on live just said Marvel devs just gave him units to buy magic skins. Awesome to see from the dev team.
Hold on, I gotta reply to my DMs real quick.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Bro, the Marvel Rivals devs just gave me units so I can purchase magic skins. No way. There's no way that is real. Wait, I gotta hide my screen. No way.
Making it even crazier is how, you know, NetEase is a Chinese-based company. So this news potentially making its way to China and like the devs finding out about it, taking action, you know, it's crazy. Maybe it was a part of like one of their like Western employees or something that's supposed to reach out to like the English side of creators. I have no idea how that all went down. I'm not going to keep speculating. I got no idea. But this is to say, like, huge dub for Kingsman, huge dub for Marvel Rivals. Huge L for those losers that were all mad and like trying to throw dude under the bus, get him kicked and all that. It backfired on them so much. It's hilarious. Let me know what you think about all the stuff in the comments. As always, thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.